Welcome to today's Explainer. We're mapping out something seriously fascinating today, the illicit rare earth flows of what's called the shadow circuit. You know, when we grab our smartphones, flip open our laptops, or plug in an electric vehicle, we almost never stop to think about the physical journey the materials inside actually took to get there, right? Today, sticking right to our source material, we're diving headfirst into this high-stakes mystery. We're looking at highly coordinated, completely underground trading networks that are moving massive volumes of rare earth minerals all across the globe, totally under the radar.
So, let me ask you, do you actually know the true origin of your smartphone's components? Think about the device you're probably holding in your hand right now. You know, feel its weight, that smooth glass, the sleek metal casing. It feels, well, entirely disconnected from raw dirt and earth, doesn't it? But our source text challenges us to really think about the unseen logistics bringing all these parts together. There is a whole clandestine world operating right beneath the surface of the global electronics market. And that means the true source of the hardware in your hand, it might be completely concealed.
Okay, so let's break down the ingredients. Two critical drivers of this underground network are neodymium and dysprosium. These are the invisible rare earth ingredients absolutely essential for fueling global electronics. And we're not just talking about structural stuff here. These are the highly magnetic engines that make your smartphone speakers vibrate. They make giant wind turbine generators spin, and they keep electric vehicle motors running efficiently. Because they literally provide the magnetic pulse of modern technology, their value is just astronomical. And that intense, never-ending demand, well, that's exactly what fuels the dark market architecture we're mapping out today.
To really grasp how this all works, we've got to peel back the layers and start deconstructing the invisible logistics behind these materials.
Enter the shadow brokers. These are the human operators who orchestrate the whole thing. They manage these high-stakes transactions specifically to bypass international sanctions. Now, you might be picturing shadowy figures in dark back alleys, but our source notes that these brokers actually tend to operate out of high-end corporate suites. They're using encrypted ledgers and incredibly complex shell networks. They are expert logisticians, real fixers. Basically, they act as the masterminds ensuring that thousands of tons of rare earth minerals just keep flowing to meet global demand, all entirely outside of regulated trade frameworks.
In fact, the source material specifically refers to this whole system as a clandestine architecture. And to put the scale of this into perspective, we are definitely not talking about a couple of smuggled briefcases here. No way. This architecture spans dozens of international borders, moving literally billions of dollars worth of raw materials every single year. It's a vast, incredibly sophisticated shadow economy, and it's perfectly designed to feed the insatiable appetite of global tech manufacturers while completely erasing the true origins of the minerals it provides.
So let's actually trace the physical journey of one of these smuggled rocks. It's kind of like a giant puzzle. Step 1 starts at artisanal mines. These are unregulated, informal dig sites where raw neodymium and dysprosium are physically pulled straight out of the earth. Then, to get into the global market, that rock rapidly moves to step 2, front companies. These corporate shells pop up to instantly create a veil of legitimacy. Next up is step 3, where the paperwork is basically washed through falsified certificates. This effectively erases the rock's illicit origins so it can slip past sanctions. And finally, fully laundered, the material arrives at step 4, high-tech manufacturing hubs, totally ready to be assembled into the latest flagship device.
The staggering reality of this shadow circuit is just how seamlessly it bridges two totally contrasting worlds. I mean, think about it. We go from the raw, unregulated dirt of artisanal mines straight into the sterile, billion-dollar clean rooms of high-tech manufacturing hubs. It's deeply ironic, right? Materials that are extracted without any formal oversight or quality control at the source can perfectly bypass the rigorous, microscopic supply chain checks of the world's most advanced, heavily scrutinized tech conglomerates.
Of course, maintaining that bridge requires successfully concealing the true source. Utilizing front companies washes the financial trail, sure, but the physical laundering, that relies heavily on issuing falsified certificates. Our source highlights how operators will digitally forge export documents or even bribe local assayers to reclassify the rare earths. It makes it look as if they originated from completely legitimate sanctioned mining operations. By leveraging those shadow brokers who know exactly which customs checkpoints to exploit, these tactics make absolutely sure the true source remains completely invisible to the final buyers.
As we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to do something. Hold on to that device in your pocket or in your hand for just a moment longer. Knowing the reality of the shadow brokers, the forged paperwork, and the invisible flows happening literally right now, what do you think is the true source of your device? The clandestine architecture we've explored today actively fuels the technology we rely on every single day, completely reframing how we look at our modern world.
Thanks so much for joining me to deconstruct this fascinating source material. Stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.